right. Oh, hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Carter, and I am the Vice President of Development at Goodwill of North Georgia, and we are just delighted to be here with you today. Everyone thinks about Goodwill when it's time to clean out your closets or go shopping, but what you may not know is Goodwill of North Georgia also provides career training in high-demand fields, including clean tech, to job seekers with significant barriers to employment. And all of this is offered at zero cost to the job seeker. And so we are just delighted to be a part of this summit today. And we have had a fantastic morning of wonderful speakers. And I know that you are all going to be so excited to hear from this group of ladies, because we're going to be talking about a topic that transcends all sectors, and that is training the workforce for the future. So please join me in welcoming Lisa Nash, Head of Human Services, EHS, and General Affairs at Q-Cells USA. Lisa?
I'm Lisa Nash, and I am Head of Human Services, Environmental Health and Safety, and General Affairs at the Q-Cells factory in both Cartersville and Dalton. And so not only am I responsible for or have important factors for training and development, but sustainability is a big factor of my job. And we are proud to announce that in our solar manufacturing facilities that we have just obtained our EPEAT label. So that proves we are constantly considering from the raw material to the end of life of our product. So we're very proud of that. We recently came to the United States from South Korea, solar manufacturing. We are the largest manufacturing of solar panels in the Western Hemisphere. We hope to make that global. All of our domestic products that are sold in North America are manufactured here in Georgia. We came online in January of 2019, and by February of 2019, we were manufacturing enough solar panels for the output of the Hoover Dam. At that time, we housed 800 employees. We expanded last year in August. We are now in the Dalton factories, the two factories. We have 1,800 employees. We're in the process of building our manufacturing facilities in Cartersville, which will house over 4,000 employees. At that factory, because of our concern about the domesticating our raw materials, we want to make the entire product here domestically. So we have invested in REC in Oregon. We're making silicon there, and we'll bring the silicon to Cartersville, where we'll make the ingot, and then we'll cut that and make the wafers, and then we'll manufacture the panels. So our goal is to be 100% domestic here. And David, if you can help translate for me, because I definitely have a Southern accent.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. And Melissa Meeker, Chief Executive Officer at the Water Tower.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here today. My name is Melissa Meeker. I have 30 plus years experience in the water industry, running very large utility, research foundation, large consulting firm, doing a bunch of different things. I was blessed to bring all of those experiences to the Water Tower, which is in Beaufort, just northeast of here, where we focus on water innovation. Thank you, Jill. She is the only person who actually said the word water this morning, but I promise you that without water, we would not have any sustainability or resiliency. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. The Water Tower, again, a state-of-the-art R&D facility, a living laboratory. We have different water quality flows that come to our facilities, so you can look at different treatment technologies and things like that. And we combine our workforce training programs with that. So I'll talk a little more as we go on.
Wonderful. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. Now, we have certainly seen a lot of energy pun intended, and funding directed at clean tech career training programs. It is estimated that by 2035, we will have demand for 9 million new jobs in solar, EV infrastructure, building efficiency, and building electrification, which will require specialized skills and training and certifications. But here in Georgia, in 2024, the job market is still very new. So tell me about what are some of the current employment demands that your organizations are seeing, and what are the trends that you're seeing in sustainability careers? Melissa, we'll start with you.
Great. Well, water's kind of a big deal. If you didn't guess, I was going to focus on that. Globally, a $915 billion company, 40% of that is in the US. So when you think about batteries, energy, all of those things, you have a manufacturing process that requires water. And on top of that, I don't think anyone in here gave it a second thought when you turned on your shower this morning and took a shower or flushed the toilet. So water is core. It's just something we don't think about, right? In North Georgia alone, based on an industry that is white male dominated within 5 years of retirement, North Georgia alone, 1,200 vacancies, which are the people supplying your water and taking care of your wastewater when you flush that toilet. So a significant challenge that's just not talked about, again, because it's something that we don't think about. So different than the energy discussion, but certainly at the core, we want to make sure that our communities are resilient and that we can support economic development, and that's why we're focused in the water space.
That makes sense.
We're working on primarily the same things to educate. Education, we have to start at that level, because for manufacturing and the job creation, we as communities and here in the United States have taught our kids over the last 20 years that the only way that they can have a good paying job or have a career is, and again, I'm going to say this before I say my next thing, is I am not against secondary education. But we have taught our students and our kids that the only way they can have a good paying job is to go to college. Mm-hmm. What that did was teach them that manufacturing or working with their hands or being an electrician or a plumber was a bad thing. So it gave this stigma that now that we're creating all these jobs, we're having to educate them that it's a good thing. So we're having to change that mindset, which it starts within the community. But we're working hard at all the way down to the middle school level of getting kids interested, getting their parents interested into encouraging them. Because just like water, manufacturing it's generational. And for solar and the high-tech positions, it's not as simple as flipping a switch of traditional manufacturing. They're highly technical jobs and well-paying, as Emily, I think you know that with your graduates that we've had, but they're well-paying jobs. They take training, long time of training, but anyone can learn them, cross-generational. But we have to start to sustain those jobs, the creation of those jobs, and the numbers that are available by educating our kids and telling them at home. So I challenge all of you, go home and tell your kids or your grandkids, hey, it's okay if you decide not to go to four-year college. You can have a career, that it doesn't have to be a second choice or a last choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you both bring up really good points about the workforce and the diversity of the workforce, and I know we're going to talk about that more in a little bit. But you've also, we heard it earlier about, these pledges. Many corporations and government agencies, they're all making pledges to increase sustainability, to make sure that their buildings and their vehicles and their employees are creating less waste and doing what we can for a greener future. And this collective effort has changed the needs of our workforce and the training that is going to be needed for this future workforce. And so, Lisa, Lisa, we'll start with you this time. How would you evaluate the current pipeline and training that exists? You kind of touched on it just a minute ago. And what do we need to do to meet the workforce needs in both the short and long term?
Well, I think it's definitely the chicken or the egg syndrome, that the jobs are here now and we are behind the mark on creating training and being ahead for the current need. But for sustaining the future need, we are on the right track. The state of Georgia is very vested with programs like Goodwill, also with programs like the Georgia school system, the technical schools. I'm going to say yellow and red are both vested. And Georgia Quick Start, excellent program if you haven't taken advantage of it. But as I mentioned about flipping the switch, we really need to train at high school level. High school level needs to start training on digital tools, machining, and robot monitoring. Those are probably the three biggest things, because one of the misnomers of high-tech manufacturing is that the more high-tech it is, the less jobs. Well, I just mentioned over 6,000 jobs that are going to be created, and it is extremely high-tech with a lot of robots. But someone has to program those robots, someone has to monitor those robots, and then someone else has to repair them. So there's a lot of jobs, but we really have to start at the high school level. We're doing an excellent job at the secondary level, but it really has to start at the high school level just to get them interested in that.
That's a good point.
I agree. I think one of the challenges that we have is getting that word out, right? So I actually think that the energy sector is so far ahead of the water sector. At least they know that there's a job track, a career track in energy, whereas I have graduate students who come and go, oh, I never really thought about a water job, even though they're in engineering. It's like, so you got to open up that conversation. I think we've been blessed. A lot of our programs are focused on the high school level. We partner with the school academy programs, take a senior in their senior year. Georgia, for an operator certification, requires three months of hands-on experience. So over that 8-month period, we're able to get them that 3 months of hands-on and teach them how to actually run the plant. So it's not like sitting through a 40-hour class and then shadowing somebody for 3 months. They're actually able to do that at the end, and they can walk in and get a career straight out of high school. Once they turn 18, they pass that certification exam for $60,000, $65,000 a year. If you have a manufacturing plant, you probably have someone on your team that also is operating a water system of some kind, if you're recycling on site, if you're doing anything like that. So again, a great opportunity to for us to support you on that side, not directly necessarily with the manufacturing job, but with your operations and maintenance staff as well.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to go off script just a little bit because you brought up something that I think is very interesting. Is, a lot of people, when they hear that number of, oh, I can graduate from high school and make $60,000, and then they think that's the end. But that's not true. There's a long career. So give me what could be a possible career path for someone if they come right out of high school and they start working in this industry?
Well, I mean, I think it really depends on the person, right? So the F. Wayne Hill Water Resources Center, which is in Gwinnett County, is one of the highest treated wastewater plants on the eastern seaboard, fantastic international reputation. The superintendent of that plant started as an operator. So he now supervises, a couple hundred staff. Again, this dynamic system. So that's one career track. The other beautiful thing about a water utility job is that the county will pay for you to go to school. So that's a great gap. If you're gap year, don't travel around Europe. Come here and work. We'll put you through college, and that works. So again, just great opportunities to go into any portion of water.
Absolutely.
And Lisa, I know you have a couple.
Well,
So what's one example?
Well, I wanted to mention that specifically for those Gen Zers, they want that instant satisfaction of accomplishment. And so if you don't have a project purpose in your community, you need to run out today and get that. Our facility in Dalton, we partner really closely with Project Purpose, and Project Purpose takes high school seniors and they enroll in a program and they have a signing ceremony at the end of the school year. During that period, companies like ours, we go in and we educate them on possible career paths. This is the third year that we've participated, and the first year we hired one person. The second year we hired 2 people, and this year, last week, we signed 12. 12 out of 21 students that participated, we signed. And one of our students that we signed last year, we had our signing ceremony and signed him as a quality technician. And he started at 17 years old, his first job ever. He is now today just about to turn, he just turned 19, and he's a supervisor. He's promoted twice. So you better bet that he's the one that I'm putting on posters and I'm taking him everywhere. But you have to take advantage of those programs. But now he can tell other students, I started out making a living wage, but now he's even talking about buying his first house, and he's 18 years old. And I'm like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do at 18. But those are just things you have to educate, and we spend more of our time educating than we do actually recruiting.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
Just to follow up on that, I think one of the earlier panels was talking about the importance of partnerships, and you just hit on it. We do water, right? So we're a bunch of water nerds sitting around, trying to train people about water. We're not the ones in the community dealing with high school students or even younger, or families that are struggling every day. So we spend a lot of time partnering with social service nonprofits who are there, like Goodwill, like Red, like Boy with the Ball. Any of these number of organizations who have community roots that are deeper than we could ever have, to be our grassroots recruiters.
Absolutely. Well, great. And that's a perfect segue, because next we're going to talk about challenges, but we know that partners can always play a fantastic role in overcoming some of these challenges. So, for instance, at Goodwill of North Georgia, we serve job seekers with significant barriers to employment. And so, last year, Accenture contacted us and said that they were interested in starting a Clean Tech Academy. And one of the first training programs that we did was with our EV charging stations and the maintenance of those charging stations. And so we are delighted to share that we have graduated 38 job seekers from this program. We are very excited about that. We have placed 18 of those job seekers. And so we are looking for employment partners. If anybody is hiring anyone in the charging station maintenance space, please contact Goodwill. So that's just one of the challenges that we're seeing is just the placement in this new field. And I would love to hear from the both of you. Lisa, we'll start with you. Tell me about some of the challenges that you're seeing.
Well, we're seeing more challenges, and it's just not, I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's not as simple as putting a posting in the newspaper. Yes, I mentioned newspaper, I'm that old. But, and people just showing up to apply for a job. It's a lot of work, and you have to use every resource. So we're partnering with everyone, with the technical colleges, the high schools, the Goodwills, with every organization. I think that if you limit yourself, that's where you're doing a disservice. And word of mouth, use your people. That's the best source of recruiting, is to make sure you're using your people. But, great partners like Goodwill, because I think that we've had some great success with the program there. But just it's a constant battle, because like water and like other industries, although we're new, manufacturing has a high population of people over 50. So we're, gaining momentum on getting younger people interested. But the great thing about what we do with the higher tech manufacturing, which a lot of us in the room do, is it's crossing age groups and diversity. I'm very extremely proud as a female in manufacturing to say that our factory, we're 52% female in a robotic manufacturing process. And that's the great thing about these jobs and sustainability is they're creating jobs that are they're less not labor intensive, they're climate controlled. So it almost sells itself, although you still have to have the population. I think for us, it's more of a population. But, getting people to move to those rural areas or keeping kids in those rural areas to work.
Yeah, I think one of the areas that we've focused on is, how do you make water sexy? How do you get that career idea out there? And the best way to do that is to take something really cool to them. And I think you guys are probably doing the same thing. So how do I stand out above the person in the booth next to me that's talking about careers as well? And we would do that by bringing a mobile water treatment lab to the high school career day, those kinds of things. We've also created a number of online tools. Through our research through our social science research, when finding out what's driving this generation, of course, sustainability is at the top. They want to do something that contributes back to their community. So that's a key piece. They also want to know where they're going, right? So we've developed a career map that actually shows you, this is your entry-level position. These are the different paths that you could take and what skills it takes to get there. And these are, the types of training that you need to get there. So just having that tool as something that they can play with and figure out themselves and see the salaries for each of those and the requirements and all that kind of stuff is an important tool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, because if you don't know, then you don't know. And so that's great. That's a wonderful tool. And, we've both mentioned diversity, and a diverse and stable and well-trained workforce is the key to the success of any sector, but specifically the energy sector. And at Goodwill, when we talk about job seekers with significant barriers to employment, we're talking about serving veterans, people who are experienced in homelessness, justice-involved job seekers. And we're proud in the fact that the graduates from Goodwill's program are playing a role in increasing the diversity in the sector. And Lisa mentioned it earlier, quite a few of our Goodwill graduates have gone on to work at Q-Cells. And not only are they working at Q-Cells, but they are thriving and earning a living wage after only a few weeks of training at Goodwill. And so we are just so proud of this partnership. And so Lisa, we will start with you. Other than partnering with Goodwill, what are some of your key strategies for increasing diversity in your sector?
Well, we are promoting the jobs that we're making sure that we're reaching out to organizations. We meet with women's clubs, we meet with veterans clubs, an organization. Also, we work with programs for adults that are challenged, and because we want to create job opportunities that meet the need of the population in our community. And I think for me personally, I have 6 grandkids, and yes, I'm that old, but one of my grandkids has cerebral palsy, and I think about, what will his future look like as an adult? And that motivates me to want to create opportunities that anyone could work in. So, and I'm the daughter and the mother of veterans, so I'm very vested in creating an environment that where we actively recruit veterans and diverse populations that aren't typically working in manufacturing. So you just have to go out in the community. If your community does not have a program, make it yourself. We have learned that if you don't have it, make it yourself. Work with your local chamber. work with your state chamber, work with organizations that have a mutual interest, because I promise you they're interested. They will be interested in working with you. We work with the Boys and Girls Club to teach children of all diverse populations that no matter what their where they are, and diversity, that they can be engineers, they can be whatever they want to be, and so you have to just build it yourself.
Yeah, I think, well, I've already talked about our partnerships that we strive to create, but fundamentally, as public water utilities, as government, we have a responsibility to reflect the communities that we serve. And what a great opportunity to really lift communities up if we allow them and help them walk into those positions. So I think that's fundamentally what's underpinning our programs and those partnerships. And I think that should also float over to the corporate side as well. And I think you're seeing that it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, great. And you've both mentioned exposure and these future career paths, and many of the jobs that we're talking about in the next 5 to 10 years don't even exist right now. So what are you doing to increase the exposure? You mentioned the tool earlier that you use, Melissa. What are some other things that you're doing to increase exposure of a future career path, not just that first right out of high school career path?
Yeah, I think one of the really cool things about the water tower is our focus on innovative technologies. So when you think about the SCADA systems that run all the water treatment plants and those kinds of things, we actually bring that to the core of our workforce training. And it is the first thing you see when you walk into our building. And our building hosts county meetings, public meetings, birthday parties, all kinds of stuff. So we're exposing people the second they walk into gamified operations and what the future's there for. So I think if we can incorporate that into our workforce training and, again, make water sexy, we're going to help address those workforce needs in the future.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how to make solar sexy. I tried to get our marketing team to bring Tom Brady in to do TikTok on the line, but it didn't work. But that's what we're doing is we're using social media, and we're letting our people speak for us. No one wants to hear from me. Gen Zers don't care what I think. So we let our staff, we're letting them speak for what they like about the industry, what they like about their career paths, and we're also letting them create our programs. Your people are your best asset. So rather than you tell them what they want, we've set up groups, and they determine what career path should be for this job. And for innovation, our first factory was, as I said, was built in 2019. We built the new factory last year, and it is remarkable between just the 5 years, the technology. So we can see on the forefront how advanced 5 years from now, and then our Cartersville factory, in 2 years, it's so much more advanced. But we're letting our people determine that. They're the experts. They need to determine what their career path should be and how far that trajectory is.
That's fantastic. Well, Melissa, Lisa, thank you both so much for your time and insights today as we are all working to support the future of our business and the people who are going to be leading us into that future. So thank you both so much. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. Thank you all so much.